Are Derby County missing Lewis Travis? Now, Lewis Travis picked up a calf injury a couple of weeks ago and is expected to miss the next 6 weeks. Now, this was a huge injury for Derby County at the time because I felt like Lewis Travis was probably one of our better midfielders at that moment in time, playing alongside David Ozo, with Ibu Adams having been dropped to the bench. And I just felt like it was a massive moment for Travis to really staple his authority in this Derby County team. And then you had the opportunity for David Ozo to sort of build a foundation as well. And I don't know. Do you think we're missing him? I'm not quite sure. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. But let's get into it. If you have not done so already, check out the links down in the description. We're trying to hit 50 subscribers on the gaming channel so that I can live stream FC, Football Manager, and all things like that. So make sure you go and subscribe over there, and I'll catch you in one of the live streams soon. Now, Lewis Travis signed for Derby County this summer for a fee believed to be in the region of around £1.5 million, rising up to £3 million. And he soon took the captaincy from Ibu Adams. And in my opinion, don't get me wrong, I don't think we've seen the best of Lewis Travis yet at all. Don't get me wrong. But I still think he's been one of our better players when he has been fit. Now, obviously, with him being injured, it opened up the door for Ibu Adams to step back in the team and ultimately then gave the opportunity for Bobby Clark to have a step in midfield. Now, we're going to talk all about the midfield battle and why I believe we're missing Lewis Travis just a little bit in this video. So shall we get into it? Now, Lewis Travis has a knack of winding up the opposition. He's got a really good way of speaking to the referees, and ultimately I think he's a very, very good player for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to turn around and act like he's Xavi or Iniesta in the midfield, but he certainly has the ability to get hold of a game and grab it by the scruff of the neck. Not that he's necessarily going to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and create 5 or 6 chances or anything like that, but he hasn't got an issue with absolutely destroying somebody in the middle of the park and then going on a breakaway. He has no issues with that at all, and that for me is absolutely massive because you really want him, you really want your midfielders to be able to do that. And I think with Lewis Travis, you get the best of both worlds in terms of a player that ain't going to be scared of a challenge and a player that also has the ability to make something happen going forward. However, I feel with Derby County, we have a lot of those players that aren't afraid of a challenge and can make something happen in terms of getting the ball out to a winger, which is what you see from Lewis Travis. It's what you see from a player like Ibu Adams. David Ozo's a little bit different. He's a little bit better on the ball than those two. But ultimately, I feel like sometimes the midfield balance for Derby County is off. And that's why really I want to discuss Lewis Travis and sort of what we've seen over the course of the weekend up against QPR, because I think that the balance that we had in midfield, I spoke about it a few times across the course of the last few days in a few different videos in regards to a few different contexts. And I just feel like the midfield balance was perfect. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I thought Bobby Clark and David Ozo complemented each other really well. Ozo really held his own in that midfield battle. Bobby Clark didn't shirk out of a challenge, wasn't scared, and was able to make things happen as well. I think he created a couple of chances today as of recording this video, and I think he was unreal, to be honest. Now, that sort of leaves Derby County in a really difficult position when it comes to the likes of Ibu Adams and Lewis Travis, because for me, as much as I believe both of them are good players, I've always said that I think Ibu Adams would be a better finisher for Derby County, coming off the bench the last 20 minutes, last half an hour maybe, to close out a game, rather than being that player that's on the pitch trying to get us in the lead for me. Now, Lewis Travis, on the other hand, is a little bit different. Now, I think Lewis Travis can have an impact from the off in games, but the problem that I see presenting Derby County's way when Lewis Travis returns, with Ibu Adams returning from suspension heading into the game versus Sheffield United, the issue that I see is that we're not going to change. We are going to change, that midfield balance that we built on Saturday. And I just don't think it's the right idea. Don't get me wrong. I think Ibu Adams has certain qualities, Lewis Travis the same. But I think what we saw from David Ozo and Bobby Clark shouldn't be changed. It should not be changed just yet. Not unless there's a direct reason for it to change for me. Because I just believe that it's that perfect balance of defensive stability and attacking prowess. And I think even David Ozo has an attacking prowess. You saw the goal he scored on Tuesday. I posted it in my matchday vlog. I think I've posted a YouTube short of it as well. You've seen the impact Bobby Clark can have on Saturday up against QPR. A huge performance from Bobby Clark, and a performance which, in my personal opinion, puts him in unbelievable territory to be able to move himself forward. Now, what does that exactly mean for Lewis Travis? Now, for me, I think it means that Lewis Travis could find himself as a bench warmer at Derby County, the same with Ibu Adams, and ultimately then you've got to have a conversation about, can you have two, well, it's a 9-player bench. What do you want? So you take a goalkeeper, there's one spot. You want at least one striker. You want at least a couple of wingers. There's 4. And you probably are going to want a fullback and a centre-back. So there's 6. That leaves you 2 spots. No, it leaves you 3 spots, actually. So you take another striker. You do have space for 2 central midfielders. But do you really want 2 defensive-minded central midfielders? I'm not entirely sure. Now, I don't for 1 minute believe that Ibu Adams or Lewis Travis are going to be bench warmers. I don't for 1 minute believe that. However, I do believe that given the performance put in by Bobby Clark and David Ozo together on Saturday versus QPR, I think that you've got to have a true conversation about how that is going to work for them to come back into the team, because you don't want to lose the 3-4-3. You ultimately don't want to move Bobby Clark out of a position where he's looked really, really good today. And that's sort of where my issue lies, because obviously that isn't Bobby Clark's sort of like natural position. Yes, he's more natural centrally, 100%. I'm not going to turn around and deny that. But as that sort of double pivot role, that isn't necessarily his natural position. And I think with the performance he put in, you could brush it off as his normal position, 100%. But ultimately, to get that deal done and to be able to solve our midfield issues due to a suspension, and I think our midfield issue was gone this afternoon. Genuinely think it was gone. I say this afternoon because I'm recording it on Saturday. I genuinely felt as if we was a much better team, 100% a much better team today, and having that ability to get out of the midfield with the ball at our feet rather than having to like hoof it or turn around and go back to the centre-backs and restart and go out to the wingers and stuff like that, I think was massive for Derby County. Now, obviously, it is going to be a huge topic of conversation over the course of this week of how long Max Johnston's going to be out injured and how that may impact Derby County's setup, because you can't really play Ryan Niambi as that right wing-back. Obviously, you can put Joe Ward in that position, but ultimately, does John Eustace trust him? We're going to have to wait and see. And there's so many different things that could happen. Now, do I believe that Lewis Travis will get straight back into the starting 11? I don't. Do I believe that Ibu Adams will get straight back into the 11? Personally, I wouldn't put him back in the 11, but obviously there probably is that possibility that he does sort of get into that role. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments if you have not done so already. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Check out all the links down in the description, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.